right, now listen up.
3, 2, 1.
It's showtime.
That's great.
This is ridiculous.
99.3 The Truth.
You can't handle the truth right now.
Ooh.
That's the stupidest thing I ever heard.
Let's do it.
Hit it.
It's time for Mac's World.
And here we go.
Everybody, let's get it started. Let's get it started.
Call Mac 244-0077 or text 809-0993.
It's showtime, everybody. Showtime.
Exclusively on 99.3 The Truth.
7 minutes after 4 o'clock on the 15th day of August in the third millennium of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Welcome back to the second hour of Mac's World Live. Wow, what a first hour, huh, Frank?
Yeah.
Boy, you really got them stirred up, didn't you?
Yeah, we had quite a few texts today for a change.
Yeah, that was nice. By the way, I love all your feedback. I hope you felt that we were what do I want to say? That we honored your feedback, even when we didn't disagree or when we didn't agree. I hope you felt that. If you should ever feel differently when you and I don't agree on something and you come in and you tell me that, if I ever act anything other than just, thank you so much for your input. This is a platform which you are welcome to give it. I want you to call me out on that. You got my permission. Call me out on that, okay? All right, I've got two lovely ladies as guests today. The primary guest, and I said that, Kelly, just so you'd relax. Okay. Alicia Economist. So I said your name right in the first hour when I promoted you.
Awesome.
And she has a ministry called Wholehearted Living. And I always give you the website so you can check it out. It's WOW, like wow, wholehearted.com. And we're going to have an event. She's going to have an event coming up a week from tomorrow. No, 2 weeks from tomorrow. That if you like what you hear here, you can go to it, and it's free, right?
Yes.
It's just a place to get organized. So, all right, speak up, say hi.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm awesome.
Thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having us.
And Kelly Timmerman is here, and later, Kelly, you're going to kind of share kind of a testimony because you got involved as a client. Is that what you'd say, a client?
Absolutely.
Okay. And it really was cool for you.
It was awesome.
Okay, good. All right. But you speak up anytime you want.
I will.
Okay, all right. So, Alicia, where did this come from?
Great question. So God has a sense of humor, is what I like to say.
Look at Frank. Porcupines and Frank. That's how we know God has a sense of humor. And who would have ever made a camel with two humps? Right? Huh? Okay.
Well, so about 6 years ago, I began to get a vision that was certainly God-given of how women, what they were capable of doing if they would learn to get out of their own way, if they would quit being their biggest critic and harshest enemy and instead learn to be on the same team. And so he started to give me this vision. And ultimately, it was just so strong, I couldn't deny it. So with my husband's blessing, he said, and you'd have to know kind of logically, it wasn't a good time for us to be able to say, yeah, let's take this leap of faith. But with my husband's blessing, I did. I left my job and started just what I thought. I guess I'll say God gave me a thimbleful of the vision, enough so that I said, okay, yeah, sure, let's do that.
Okay.
I had worked in the fitness industry for a couple of decades part-time, teaching group fitness and all. And so I thought I was going to kind of be walking around the block in the neighborhood with with women, and helping them to declutter emotionally and to get physically active. Well, that was just the start of it. But so he ended up literally, the only way I can describe it is, it was a download that came from God. I had never written anything in my life, considered myself not to be the brightest student. I would have been the last person to say, yeah, I'll write a couple books. But I say...
you hadn't authored anything prior to this?
Nothing prior.
Okay.
No. So this vision was just so deeply embedded in my brain that I sat at the computer and for months on end I just had to share it. I had to get it out of my head. I wasn't planning on writing a book. I had no idea. But I just knew I had to get this material out. And when it was finished, it was the guts of what has turned into 3 books, 3 courses. And we work exclusively with women, ideally anywhere from 30 to late 50s, that are ready to just declutter, get rid of the stuff that weights us down and prevents us from living wholeheartedly.
Wow. Okay.
And which is interesting. You know, God initially made it very clear to me it was to be called WOW, Wholehearted Living. And I kind of argued with him a little because I thought, what's that stand for? WOW is just an expression. It's not really the name of a ministry. But later he did show me WOW stands for Wholehearted, Outstanding Women, which I believe we all are.
Wow. I mean, wow.
Yeah.
Wholehearted. No, say it again.
WOW.
Yeah.
Wholehearted living. And of course, when you think about it, the alternative to living wholeheartedly is to be half-hearted. And what a shame to live life that way when there is so much in front of us and we're capable of doing so much for the kingdom.
Okay. Wow. Yes, Frank.
Is there any particular reason why you have a particular age bracket you work with?
Good question. Yes. Initially, we kind of opened it up to everyone. And I'll even back up and say, as I was writing the curriculum, I had worked in a prior ministry with both men and women. And so as I was writing, I found that it was a little cumbersome to keep saying, are we cleaning out the closet? Are we cleaning out the garage? He, she, him, her. And so just with a lot of prayer, God made it very evident. He said, you connect with women. You are a woman. You take care of the women and trust me to raise up a man. And what's really cool is as I got these 3 books published and we started taking women through the courses, I was led to connect with Dr. Paul Leavenworth, who maybe you know.
Absolutely. I know Paul. I went through one of his classes.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Well, okay.
So he does a version for men.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and when I met him, he had said although he works with men and women, he really has the bulk of his program is for men. And he too had been praying that some woman would come alongside and have a similar approach. So that was pretty exciting.
So did you write Paul's curriculum?
No.
He wrote his curriculum.
He wrote his curriculum. I wrote my curriculum, and then we met and we said, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So he's been a great resource because so many of the women that come through WOW, as they declutter their relationship with themselves first and foremost, and ultimately declutter their relationship with God in the 3rd book, they begin to change in their marriage, and their spouse then wants to have some growth. And so Paul is a great resource.
Yeah, Paul Leavenworth has been on this show. One of the things that I refer, or one of the people that I refer Paul to, are men who want to finish well.
Exactly.
We've gotten to this place in our lives. I'll just speak for me. I've gotten to this place in my life that I'm decluttering.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just figuring out that some of this stuff, physical and emotional, just isn't worth it anymore.
Exactly.
And I don't want to. I don't want to just kind of wind up being all crumpled over, not only physically but emotionally.
Yeah.
Because of all the things that have happened to me in my life. I love my life.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd change it. There's a couple things I'd probably pray away if I could.
Yeah.
But now, I get what you're talking about.
Yeah. So we often, we just describe in the simplest way, decluttering is just mostly emotional and spiritual. It's wounds, it's lies about ourselves that we believe, of what we think we're capable of, shame and guilt from our past. And boy, as we get rid of it, we can soar.
Yeah.
Well, the reason I ask age is a lot of women, when they get around 35, they're done raising their kids. For the most part. I mean, they're in their teens, so they're kind of self-sufficient, and they don't have to be watched after. So women seem to have a lot of free time on their hands, or their priorities change or whatever. So I assume that's probably why you're zoning in on that age bracket.
You know what? And I'm sorry, I kind of got away from answering your question. What we found is people that they need to be at least late 20s, early 30s to just simply at least be establishing their own household and be out from under the household they grew up in. And also have just a few years of life experience to start gaining a little bit of ability to look back at it.
Yeah, I mean, how much clutter can an 18-year-old, a 24-year-old... Well, but seriously, though.
No, you're right. They need to have some miles on the road.
Yeah.
And so we do. And then we also find, though, on the other end, although we've had some clients that have been in their 70s, they have some pretty deeply embedded patterns. And Wholehearted Living, is not trying to be everything to everyone. We know it's a very logical curriculum. It's amazing the way God laid these 3 workbooks out. The tools just, they build on each other. And what I say is step by step, it allows women's clutter to come to the surface and gives them the ability to handle it and then be free of it. So it's not holding them back anymore.
Yeah, we've got your logo on the screen.
Yes.
This, Alicia, this show is not only on the radio, but it's a webcast.
Yes.
And it's on the web. I call it passionate radio with pictures. And so there will be people who will go back and watch the podcast. And that's why sometimes things will be up on the screen that will be associated with you.
Yep.
All right, Frank, you going to be okay? There's a lot of estrogen in this room today. Because I'm feeling for these gals. I'm right. I know exactly where they're at. I think you're going to be the only sore thumb in the corner there.
Yeah, okay.
He's a little misogynist sometimes. He really
Come
is.
on now.
No. Really? You're saying you're not?
I'm innocent.
Yeah.
Innocent of all charges.
All right. 515-244-0077. That's the phone you can call to ask Alicia any questions that you might have or any encouragement you might want to share. The text line is not being monitored right now. Bob Monster at the Cat in the Hat is at a conference for 3 days. And Chris Roloff, I don't know, he thinks he's got other things to do around here. I don't understand that. There's nothing more important than being in Mac's world, right? So we're going to take our first break, and when we come back, I want you to lay out some of the things that you deal with. Do you have don't answer this, but do you have different paths depending on what the clutter is, or is it all kind of in one group? And your questions, again, are also very important at 515-244-0077. Got some great shows coming up this week, and one of my favorites is going to be Thursday with Shane Vanderhart and Brian Myers from Decaffeinated Thoughts. It's always fun when we get together. And tomorrow, the head of the Democratic Party in the state of Iowa, Tom Henderson, will be in with my own Tom Coates, and I'm just going to give him marshmallows and let them throw at each other all day long. It'll be fun, as it always is, here in Mac's World on The Truth.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
Hey everybody, I brought Northern Lights Pizza! And it's got Graziano sausage!
Rockton Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens, rock on! This is Pat McManus for Rock and Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
21 minutes after 4 o'clock, 4:21 in the afternoon, 15th day of August in the third millennium of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Well, you remember that the boys over at Weiss Merkel are giving us an opportunity to have a look at our 401ks. If you've ever had your 401k move from one company to another, you change jobs, whatever, the average person does not look at that 401k for 20 months. And in that time, fees change, interest rates change. The people who manage and monitor your 401k changes. And there's things going on in your 401k that you don't know. I mean, really, that's what the statistics say. So the guys at Weiss Merkel will absolutely, completely free of charge, be glad to look at your 401k. Give them a call today, 278-4110, 278-4110. All right, so my guest today is Alicia, economist, and after years in the, what'd you say, the exercise world?
Yep.
Okay. And God laid something on your heart, and you started a ministry called Wholehearted Living. And if you want to know about it, you can check it out on the web at wholehearted.com. WOW, wholehearted.com. And if you like what you hear, there's going to be an event that you can go to that's completely free of charge. It's going to be coming up 2 weeks from tomorrow on August 30th at Compass Financial on Westtown Parkway. That's the old Becca de Poo-Poo. No, I said that wrong. You don't know that one, do you?
No.
Okay. Can you say it?
Buca de Pepo.
Buca de Pepa. That's right. And 6:30 to 7:15, not long. And you can find out what this is all about. I want to go to Kelly Timmerman for just a second. And as the best you can, tell me where you were, where your heart was when you sought out help from Alicia.
Well, God had been doing some amazing transitions in my life. And I started out as an actuary years ago and was diagnosed with cancer, made it. Again, was diagnosed with another form of cancer within a few years, brought me to my knees twice, and through that, made a lot of life changes and started a business. And I was in the mode of doing God's work, creating this amazing business, but busyness was my drug. And I was a workaholic. Success to me was doing more, never feeling like I did enough, always trying to please people, and just everything revolved in my head around that fast pace. And the best analogy I can give you is if you picture a water skier versus a scuba diver. I was water skiing, and I could get anywhere fast, and I could whiz across that lake 100 miles an hour and feel really good about it. But everything was so fast-paced, I didn't have time to slow down and think. And when I met Alicia, and through the WOW Wholehearted Living Ministry, I learned to slow down and scuba dive, because when you scuba dive, it's down at the bottom where the colors are, where life is, where beauty is. And that's the best way I can describe it. Through the ministry, I really learned to slow down, to just put more into relationships. My relationship with God transformed again, and it was amazing.
Good. You did that real well, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, is the scuba dive water skiing thing your analogy? That's very good.
Thank you.
You know, you could also can I just take a rabbit trail for a second?
Absolutely.
The guys that I get together with on Wednesday morning and study the Bible, there's only about 20 of us, and at any given time there's maybe 12. But we try to explain to people that we do not go fast. We go deep. We will sometimes literally get through 3 or 4 verses of a chapter, and we immediately take what we learn and we say, okay, put it in 2016. Put it in your life, your marriage, your situation. And you just gave me a wonder. If with your permission, I'm going to use that. And I'll remember it came from Kelly Timmerman. That my Bible study, or some Bible studies are like water ski, and they just zip right through the chapters, so at the end of the month they can say done. We're scuba divers.
Yeah. It's the
Good
best
job.
way to live.
Good job.
Isn't it a great analogy?
It is.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful analogy. Yeah. All right.
We talk about moving from ordinary to extraordinary. And another way to say it is I've heard so many people, and I also participated in many Bible studies that were good. They had a lot of information. But until you declutter your relationship with yourself and God, it's just more information rather than transformation. But that's the key.
But oh, Alicia.
Yes.
But you have to be willing to be vulnerable.
Absolutely. And that's what we stress in these groups. So the way we do Wholehearted Living groups is just 3 participants and a heart coach, certified heart coach for the Wholehearted Living program. And that's a small, intimate connection. You meet once a week for 90 minutes for 8 weeks for each of the 3 classes, 8-week segments. The first course is your relationship with yourself. That's that foundation relationship. Because think about it. Who's the common denominator in all of your relationships? You.
Yeah.
So until you get that straight, you're not going to, we talk about it, it's like a pizza. That's the crust. If your crust isn't good, doesn't matter what you put on top of it. Then the second course is your relationship with stuff.
Okay, now hold on. Hold on. You're going too fast.
Okay.
Don't be water skiing through Mac's World here. Okay? So I'm just thinking about certain people in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got somebody in my life that when you ask the question, would you rather be right or would you rather be happy? The answer is right. And would you rather understand or be understood? The answer is be understood. Those type of people are going to have rocks in their way to do this program.
But it is amazing to see what can happen. And here's what happens. People see someone like Kelly and say, wow, literally, there's something about you that's changed. You have a happiness, you have a peace and a confidence I've not seen in you. What's going on?
Yeah.
I mean, people will say, have you lost weight? You know, they have all these kinds of things, but they can see and feel this tangible difference. It's a freedom that comes when you declutter. And then that starts eating away at the people that have these big rocks. And we all have clutter. I like to say we all grew up in dysfunction junction.
Absolutely.
Just various levels of dysfunction, but we've all got it. Nobody had the Norman Rockwell experience.
No.
It may have looked that way. Mine looked that way. But
Mine
it was
did too.
Dysfunction junction on the inside.
All right. Our guest is Alicia, economist. It is Wholehearted Living. The website is WOW, wholehearted.com. All right, Frank? Don't ruin anything. We got a good vibe going on here.
What's the most common things that women find that clutter their life?
Most often, it is lies about who they believe they are. And of course, those can come from a variety of experiences along the way. Teachers, coaches, friends, media, all kinds. But I'll give you my example. Again, my drug of choice, we all end up numbing out with some drug of choice. Sometimes it's alcohol, sometimes it's drug, people-pleasing, workaholism, whatever. Mine was people-pleasing and performing. So, man, it looked good on the outside. But I believed deep inside I wasn't good enough, I wasn't smart enough, I wasn't pretty enough, and I believed I was too much because I continually got the message, sit down, be quiet. I can't. God's made me a mouthpiece for him. I'm passionate about what he's given me to share. And so I had all those lies. So you can imagine now that I've discovered my kingdom purpose, which for me personally is to enthusiastically encourage others to live wholeheartedly by finding their life in Christ. How can I do that if I believe my enthusiasm is a bad thing and I really need to squelch that? And that was my story. I think many, many people carry guilt and shame from their past, from junior high, high school, college years where they made bad choices. Yeah.
You just hit a nerve over here.
I guess I did.
You did. One of the most powerful lessons that Jesus taught me these last few years through Michael Megason, okay?
Mike's a friend.
Was that guilt and shame only comes from the accuser.
Yes.
God would never look at you and say, guilty, shame on you.
Right. Exactly.
When I learned that, I mean, just talk about uncluttering.
Right.
All of a sudden, all those resentments, all those heavy rocks that I'm carrying, all those desires that, somebody eat poison and die because I want them to, just lifted. Just lifted.
Yeah. I've come to describe the difference. Guilt is feeling bad about something you've done. Shame goes much deeper and lasts longer. It's feeling bad about who you believe you are.
Yeah.
And so back to your question, most women have a degree of shame and guilt. And then you've got some twisted lies in there and some wounds on top of it. Those are some big boulders.
Boy, you're talking my language. You are really. I'm all estrogen today. I really am. All right. Speaking of the other, Frank.
Well, let's talk about a classic example in the Bible: Mary and Martha. And Martha was. She was a busy person. She was always in the kitchen. She was preparing food, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And Mary, on the other hand, wanted to go and sit at Jesus' feet and listen. But the world needs Marthas. Hospitality is one of the gifts of the Spirit.
Right.
Okay, so where's the dividing line between being that person who a woman feels like that they have to be this person who is being productive, being in the kitchen, feeding people, being hospitable, and then making time to go sit at Christ's feet? And some women can't find that line. They're either all in the kitchen or they're all in at Jesus' feet. Where's that line?
Kelly, did you want to comment?
Oh, that was me.
Okay.
That was me. I was Martha big time. But it gets, and again, this was part of what we learned in the workshops and in the ministry that Alicia's put together, but learning to slow down and learning to take care of my own heart and learning about who I am and who God says I am. I'll back up. For me, it used to be a calendar issue where everything that I could get done, it always had to be scheduled. I knew if I put it on my calendar and it would get done. And my calendar was color-coded and crazy. It makes me sick to look at it right now. Now, I take time and I put my list before Jesus. I pray about it. I let him direct my steps. And I take time to care for my own heart. And I guess I'm jumping around here a little bit.
That's okay.
But it also gets into something we learned about how we talk to ourselves and how we criticize ourselves. And women are especially hard on ourselves. I've learned that I'm okay and I like who I am. Even though I've achieved many things on the world standards, I still was never happy with myself and couldn't work hard enough. I couldn't slow down enough. And now I've learned to take time and slow down and spend that time with God and have him direct me to what is really important to get done.
And Frank, you know, the busy is a big buzzword, and I have come to see that busy is a drug, and I believe it's the enemy's greatest weapon right now.
Oh, yeah.
If he can keep women busy or distracted, they're going to be off target. And we all have a kingdom purpose, a unique one. And boy, if we're busy, we won't be tending to it.
Oh, were you done?
I guess.
Okay. Well, go ahead and say something. You got a break coming up.
All right. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I want to say something else on that briefly, is just this. When we like a lot of things, on Facebook we like all types of things, but most women don't like who they are, and I was in that boat. When you don't like who you are, it makes you susceptible to need everybody else's approval. Boy, I've got to have you guys' approval because I don't like me. But when I like me and I know God likes me and I love who he created and I can look in the mirror and say, God, you were on one of your best days when you made me and when you made Kelly and when you made every woman, man, then I'm free of that. And now I can minister and just let God direct my steps.
All right. We are going to take a break. If you're listening to this program today or you're listening to this podcast, I think God moved you today to be here because this is pretty cool. I hope you're listening. And guys, who are you thinking of? No, I know who you're thinking of. It's not a blind spot. It's not a secret. You know exactly who you're thinking about. Maybe you should pick up the phone later today and call Alicia. Introduce the two of you. Make a change. Make a difference.
Northern Lights Pizza's amazing garlic butter makes amazing breadsticks. Now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza. I'm Brian Leach, owner of Service Legends, and my position is Chief Talent Officer.
I'm Nicholas Wonderscheid.
I am Bernie Homs.
And I'm the Service Manager.
Marketing Director and Client Relations Manager.
Everything that we do is about ensuring that we exceed your expectations.
Our clients are important to us. 100% satisfaction.
We're not just focused on heating and cooling. That's the easiest part of our job, actually, is fixing furnaces and air conditioners.
Everyone that we come in touch with, we want to improve lives.
Bottom line is, we've got our installation guarantees, 25% energy savings guarantee, comfort guarantee, temperature selection guarantee, property protection guarantee.
100% satisfaction guaranteed, fixed rate or it's free.
All of those guarantees are backed up with a 100% money back guarantee to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that you get what you're after.
Just fixing the problem today. If they have another problem 5 days down the road, it's still fixed rate or it's free.
We use what's called straightforward pricing. Our technicians are going to give you an exact to-the-penny price on what it's going to take before they move forward with any repair. That way you know what to expect.
It's the same price every day.
No surprises.
If you get off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you come home, you realize that, oh, my furnace is broken. Now you need to call somebody out that night. You shouldn't have to pay more for that.
We're guaranteeing service 24/7.
We run afternoons, evenings, nights, weekends. We're staffed to work that.
Phone rings at 3 in the morning. You'll get one of our representatives answering the phone every time.
We're not sending you out to Timbuktu in some call center. It's our Service Legend team members, our mission control team.
I'll take a call anytime.
And then they answer the phones the same way during the day as they do at night.
It's a great day at your service company. How can we make you smile?
That's the only way to provide true 24-hour service.
When you're able to let somebody actually live in their home safely when they weren't able to do that before, where they don't have to stay up at night and worry about, is the heat going to come back on? Are we going to freeze the pipes? Is the baby in the room next door going to be sick because they got too cold? When you're able to help somebody overcome challenges like that, that's impacting a life. That makes a difference. I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I love the team. I love the people that I work with.
We have fun, but we work hard.
I call them my ambassadors of legendary service. If you could just envision what that is, that's who we're sending to your home.
They literally will call in, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I want to talk to your manager. And I get on the phone, they're like, that technician that was at my house was the greatest technician ever. That's cool to me.
We want to brighten people's days.
Every person that we have going into the house has gone through an extensive background check.
Drug testing, we have a very thorough interview process that 1 out of 140 people make it through.
If we promise you something, that's what you're going to get, no matter what.
We're here when you need us to protect the safety and comfort of your family.
If you're not happy, we're going to make it right.
If we're willing to put 100% money back guarantee on what we do, what type of work do you think we do?
Give us a call. We're there for you 24/7, 365 days a year.
Enough said.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
4:38, 22 minutes before the top of the hour. Top of the hour, Salem Radio Network News, and then Hank, the Bible Answer Man. 1-888-ASK-HANK. Now, this is a worldwide live 60-minute show. And Frank gets in on it every once in a while. But, Frank, you call early. Well, that one time you didn't, though, did you? You just picked up the phone and got right in.
I just picked up the phone and dialed in.
Because they knew it was Frank coming in.
Well, I did probably try a couple of times. It was busy a couple of times.
He's a good guy to answer your questions. He's not always going to be in agreement with you. I don't want to say he's wrong. He's not wrong. He just has a different opinion than most of us on some things. Love you, Hank. And then later on tonight, of course, 8 o'clock, the Steve Deace live here exclusively on The Truth, 99.3. All right, my guest is Alicia Economist. She has a ministry called Wholehearted.com. That's where you can look it up. Now, there is a fun little thing coming up at Compass Financial, 4801 Westtown Parkway, 2 weeks from tomorrow, 6:30 to 7:15, free of charge. You'll find out a little bit more about Wholehearted.com. And by the way, this is for girls only. If you hear this, guys, and you want to be a part of this, a very similar program goes on in Lutheran Church of Hope. And also, it's the boot camp that we talked about last week with
Brian Leach.
Yeah, but the book.
Wild at Heart.
Wild at Heart. Have you ever read Wild at Heart?
Oh, yes.
See,
yeah. And captivating.
Yeah, you're just talking my language here on a lot of this.
Yep.
Okay, so you started to talk about that our lives are like a deep dish pizza. And we started with the crust, which is how we feel about ourselves.
So it's the relationship with yourself, correct? Okay. And so that's the first 8-week course. Then the second 8-week course is your relationship with stuff, which includes, for women, their relationship with food, their relationship with their body, their relationship with possessions, with money, and with success. And then the topping is your relationship with God, learning to declutter your relationship with God. And that's like the cheese that melts down. It's the glue that holds it all together. But again, if that foundation, that crust isn't good, it doesn't matter what else you put on it.
I'm going to skip to the top because I like cheese.
Okay.
Your relationship with God, I would imagine, like it is with men, you've got some church hurt in there.
Many people have all kinds of spiritual beliefs that are a little twisted, and some wounds along the way, sadly, sometimes came from church.
How do you get past someone who just won't agree with you? No, that's not the way. I'm right. I'm sorry. That's what my dad taught me. That's right. That's what my pastor taught me. That's right.
You know, it's really interesting because these build on one another, and you back up and you've started to deal first with the stuff, your own stuff.
That makes sense.
When that's out of the way, we don't run into that. And it's not about, our heart coaches are not there to provide an answer for you. What they do is they're much like a tour guide. They'll help you see things that you might miss otherwise, but they're not there for the answer. They're to help you declutter so you can come to your own answer and you can learn to rely on God.
And you say there's 3 people plus the heart coach in a module.
Correct.
Are those 3 people, who holds them accountable?
Each other and the heart coach. And actually the curriculum is such that they read the assignment or they read the chapter each week. They complete their written assignment. They come to the group coaching session. And each person shares their stuff as they process with the heart coach leading that process.
How many, I'm just going to ask it. How many people quit?
Surprisingly, a really small percentage. Because also, we don't do a big marketing campaign. Again, our changed lives are our biggest and best sales.
Kelly's story that she shared with us.
Absolutely. And so we've had over 1,000 women go through at least one of the workshops or at least one of the courses. And once people start, what they say so often is, I have never before felt this level of freedom. And they go right on into the next ones. It's just... It's really rare someone drops out.
All right, again, it's WOW, wholehearted.com. And the WOW stands for Wholehearted Living Women. Did I get that right? No.
Wholehearted.com. And WOW stands for Wholehearted Outstanding Women.
Outstanding.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry about that. Frank?
That's okay.
It's Kelly, right?
Yes.
Okay. This is for both of you, but Kelly maybe primarily. This is mostly a phenomenon of men, but it does cross the grade to women too. Is guys will bury themselves in their job, or they'll bury themselves in something to avoid conflict or avoid things at home that they know they need to pay attention to, but rather than to do that, they'll be married to their job. They'll work too many hours. When you talked about that you were busying yourself with things, was there something particular you were trying to avoid? Or was it just that maybe a compulsive perfectionist nature? What exactly
I think it gets back to the need to perform, and I was driven by performance. I was driven by never thinking I was good enough, and so the better I performed, I never reached that level where I was super happy. I just was driven to perform. And thankfully, I have an amazing husband who also helps slow me down a little bit.
So was you trying to live up to some falsehood of a worldly standard? What was it that you was trying to reach?
I don't know. I mean, once I reached one thing, there's always another. That's a never ending. That can never be fulfilled. And I've been blessed along the way. It just was never enough.
Kelly, can I dig a little deeper?
Sure.
Are you okay? So you said a minute ago that it was never enough. Okay. When did you realize that?
I didn't realize it, honestly, until I was going through
the program.
Yeah. And when I was in the program, I was willing to be vulnerable. And there were times when it was really, really difficult and heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
And part of that process of decluttering helped me put the pieces back together. And I mean, I've always loved Jesus. I grew up in a Christian home. I've had a passion for God and for Jesus. But going through this program, I just really let down and realized how much He loves me as I am.
Yeah.
And
I wish you guys could see Kelly. And if you're on,
she's beaming.
Yeah, if she is, she's just beaming. She's glowing.
Yep.
So watch the podcast, and you'll get to see a great smile too. And from a radio guy, I love your voice. You have a great voice.
Thank you.
All right. We're talking with Kelly Timmerman, who is a satisfied customer of Alicia Economist, who has wholehearted.com. It's called Wholehearted Living. And there is a Compass Financial is going to host a get-together, just 45 minutes, 2 weeks from tomorrow, 4801 Westtown Parkway from 6:30 to 7:15. For women only.
For women only.
What
correct.
will they walk away with in that 45 minutes?
So it's purposely short. I'm short and direct and to the point. I respect people's times, and I know they're busy. And so they will, though, get an introduction to the secrets to living wholeheartedly. They'll have a chance to connect with other women, and in a brief interactive workshop, realize they're not alone. That is something that many, many women realize when they get into a group where they can be vulnerable and realize, wow, we have a lot in common here. That's powerful. And then information about starting the classes. We'll have new classes starting the week of September 12th. And we do offer, for people that aren't in the Des Moines area, we do offer online coaching for the curriculum as well.
Okay, can you share with us the cost of doing one of these 8-week classes, or do you you pay for all three, or what do you do?
No, they're an 8-week class at a time. The course is $280. That's $5 a day. I tell people, give up your whatever your fancy latte drink is, and you can pay for it.
Starbucks.
Everyone says this is the best investment I've ever made in myself.
And where?
And where do they register on the website?
No,
where do the classes?
Yeah, where are the classes held?
It depends on where the participants are. Oftentimes in churches, coffee shops, homes, variety of places, and we're always looking for small, potentially Christian-owned businesses that aren't using their offices for an hour and a half in the evening where we can meet.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And one thing, too, we had talked earlier about the negative self-talk, about how hard women are. Research shows, and this is mind-boggling, that the average person, not just woman, but has over 35,000 self-thoughts per day. And for the average woman, over 75% of those are negative and self-defeating. You can see why we need to declutter our thoughts and our beliefs.
Let the Holy Spirit in. All right. We're coming back live here in Mac's World.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Rockton Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens. Rock on. This is Pat McManus for Rockton Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
Northern Lights Pizza, your home of the tasty crust. Our garlic butter sauce now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common, everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
10 minutes before the top of the hour, Salem Radio Network News, and then Hank, the Bible Answer Man, 1-888-ASK-HANK. What's your question? in the Bible today. Sometime here in the next couple weeks, I'll let you know that I've been studying Daniel. And Daniel chapter 10 has got me jazzed. It's the part when the angel comes to Daniel and said, I'm sorry I couldn't get here. The king of Persia, or prince of Persia, meaning Satan, held me up, and I couldn't get away. And then Michael, the archangel, came in, took on the king of Persia so I could come here and tell you that your prayer was answered 4 weeks ago. We're going to spend some time on that one, and I want you to think about how it applies to your life. I want you to take that, and I'm not sure what verses those are, but that's right near the end of chapter 10. I want you to think how that impacts your life in 2016. The prayer that you prayed today, the things you ask God for, and then you say at the end of the day, at the end of the week, at the end of the month, at the end of the year, He didn't answer my prayers. Well, if what Daniel is being taught in chapter 10, there's a power so great on this earth. And yes, the number one is God, but the number two is the accuser. And he's getting in your way every day. He's messing up your relationships. He's messing up work. He is stealing. He is robbing the passion that you have for Christ. Remember, Jesus came to heal the brokenhearted and set the captives free. Are you a brokenhearted person, or are you a captive? Because I guarantee you, you're a little bit in both. I got my big toe in the brokenhearted right now because He already set me free. But I'm sure I'll be restrained again, and I'll need that angel to come and rescue me. We'll talk about that later this week, okay? My guest today is Alicia Economos and Kelly Timmerman. Alicia Economos is with Wholehearted.com. Wholehearted Living. This is a ministry only for women. And Kelly has been through this course. Have you been through all three? Mm-hmm. All right. And just has a wonderful testimony. And we should also know that Kelly has a ministry of her own. And what's it called again?
Win the Food Fight.
Win the Food Fight. Is that a .com?
It is kellytimmerman.com.
Okay. All right. Check her out, and she can help you help you eat better. And Alicia can help you declutter. And if you lose weight and declutter, man, there's only going to be the best of you left, right?
That's Wholehearted Living. In fact, we have combined forces and do some workshops together.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. We've got just a few minutes left. Tell me what you'd like your my listeners to know, how they get a hold of you, things like that.
Sure. They can get a hold of us through the website, wholehearted.com. And like I say, we offer online coaching as well as local coaching classes. And just to give you a little bit more variety of some of the testimonies, people, I think of a person recently, many actually, have left behind the shame of a divorce and discovered the amazing woman that God created in them. I love, there was one young woman that came by recently, and in the first 8-week class, started to realize, got rid of some of the lies about herself, let go of a boyfriend that was unhealthy, and in the second 8-week course ended up meeting an amazing godly man, and at the end of the third course they got engaged. And I said, now there's a testimony.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we can't promise that. But others, in my case, I learned to stop being my biggest critic. I learned to like myself, and my creativity was unleashed. My relationship with God improved exponentially, and I discovered my passion. Another client recently, often people in the third course, we help them to discover their life symbol and their kingdom purpose. And one of them discovered she wanted to be a midwife and has started a midwife business. And others have, it's just crazy to see what happens when they get out of their way.
The midwife.
Yes.
Did her husband and her work at a church?
Yes.
I know who you're talking about.
She's a WOW grad.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
That's super.
Yeah.
All right. 3 courses, $280 a course.
Yep.
8 weeks. 3 people plus a heart coach. Is it always the same 3?
For each of the 3 classes, yes, ideally it is.
Okay.
And 99% of the time, the 3 people stick with their heart coach and go right through all 3 courses.
Okay.
There is a bond. They are friends for life because
Yeah.
you talk about vulnerability.
Yeah.
I say it's like cleaning the closet, but this time you take everything out of the closet.
Right.
And then you're amazed at how little you put back in.
Yeah.
And you only put back in what you intentionally know will serve you well.
You know, it's funny. We all have 2 grandmothers. I had 2 grandmothers, and I've got one that I really liked.
Yeah.
And she taught me how to clean my room that way. Everything comes out. It's like, Grandma, are you crazy? And there would always be something that I didn't end up putting back in that then we'd give to another child or we'd give someplace. And
Absolutely.
that was Grandma's way of teaching me how to declutter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah. And I ultimately, for me, my testimony goes back to Matthew 11:28. It's a life verse. I was that people pleaser. I had 2 treadmills of performance going, and it looked good, but I was exhausted. And it took cancer and a couple other things to knock me on my feet and find out this wholehearted living way of life. So I came to him weary and burdened, and I now realize his burden is light.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing how I've only known Jesus about 5 years. Before that, I was a God guy, and I'd literally say to you, why do you need Jesus? I mean, I asked Mike that on the radio a dozen times for I don't know how many years. Yeah, this is Mac. He's a member of the church, but doesn't believe in Jesus. You're right, I don't. Me, a God guy. When Jesus mugged me, and that's what I call it, because he took everything from me that I thought I had to have that was so important to me, and I didn't need any of that.
Yeah.
When Jesus mugged me, I began to understand how people are lifted up by him in the times that we are at our worst and are going through the worst. And if 7 years ago, one of you ladies would have told me that, when you go through the worst possible thing in your life, Jesus is just going to come and lift you up and you're going to be so blessed, I would have said, ha. But it's true.
It's true.
And it sounds like that the ladies, the women, the girls that go through these courses probably discover that.
They do. They discover they're an amazing woman that God created exactly as he desired in his perfect image, and he's given each one of us a kingdom purpose. And I think I'll date myself, but the picture of a light bright toy that some of us grew up with.
Yep.
And he showed me one day, until you take your spot and get lit up, the picture isn't going to be complete. But boy, think about what happens as women get lit up. And it's just, their spirit sparkles. Kelly's a great example.
Yeah.
You can see it.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for coming here.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for
both
reaching
you.
out to me and telling me I should do this.
That was my husband's idea.
Was it? It
Yes,
was a great idea.
Yes,
it was a great idea. Because, and I'll say this to you listening at home, the best shows come from you, not me. I'm in a rut. You know, I've only got 66 books of the Bible and a guy called Jesus I can talk about. I didn't know anything about this ministry until Alicia came out and showed it to me. So if you've got something going in your life that you want to plug into and you want to shine bright, bring it to Mac's World. I'd love to have you as a guest. All right, as I usually say at the end of every show, today I mean it a little bit more. Would you please forgive the person that you're carrying a resentment against? Because until you forgive, he can't forgive you. It just doesn't happen that way. I love you.